It sounds like an airplane. Good morning, guys. It is a Tuesday morning. Well, it's not really morning anymore. It's around 10:30, but I didn't get up until 7:30, and I'm still kind of that scrunchiness in my throat from the morning because it takes me forever to wake up right now. But yeah, I had my coffee, I've been watching YouTube, I got a whole bunch of cross stitching done this morning, and I find myself, I'm not having a really good time, or really good mentally. I've been seeing a lot more anxiety, I've been seeing a lot of like detrimental thoughts. The good thing is I know that they're just thoughts. A lot of my anxiety and my thoughts, I know that they are not real, sort of, so it's easier to handle them and kind of sort them out and everything. However, that needing to handle them and not being able to not have them at all, which like a year ago I didn't have to deal with them. I was almost anxiety free, which was awesome, and now they're back, and they're back with a vengeance, to be honest, with a vengeance. So yeah, I'm kind of exhausted. It's just 10:30 and I'm already tired because of all of these. Like, I get this remembering things I said, maybe in a conversation with friends or in the conversation with the doctor, and I get this real bad feeling in my chest, like really like a physical bad feeling in my chest. It's all warm and nauseous, and like, oh, I said this was so wrong, I shouldn't have said it this way, I shouldn't have said it at all. Now they will think that I'm stupid. In my case, when it comes to the doctor, I always feel like, well, he will stop believing me, which is a bad thing. Like, I have all of these diagnoses because I have all of these tests done that shows that I do have these diseases. But when I come away a couple of weeks from having one of those meetings, I'm back to maybe it's just in my brain, even though I have on paper that I'm sick. So that is a big thing, and has been a big thing for most of my life. All my health issues have been said is due to stress and due to like hypochondriac, which it never was. What I'm going through now is actually physical, but there is a bit of it that is mental, that is stress, and that I think is the thing that stresses me out the most. Knowing that doctors previously said that everything I was feeling was stress, and now knowing that this is stress and I need help with it, but I'm so scared that I will get this kind of stamp in my forehead that it's always stress. And if I get really, really sick from my lupus, or I get really, really sick from something else, they will still say that it is stress. So I think that is the core scare I have right now, is that I'm going back to, I've been fighting for over 10 years for all of these things, and because that has made me so stressed, it has put me in a situation where it is stress. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's rough right now. And like, you have to acknowledge that it's rough, and then you have to figure out all the little bits and pieces in it, and then you have to deal with it. At least I have. Again, when I'm talking about you have to and this and that, I am not in any way in shape trying to minimize someone else's feelings or what they're going through and how their anxiety affects them. This is my way of dealing with stress and dealing with anxiety. I figure out what is causing it, and I then try to handle it in some shape and form, and if I can't, I go to a doctor. Everyone's anxiety history, everyone's anxiety life is different, and everyone needs different treatment. That doesn't mean that you can't get something out of what I'm sharing, and that is why I'm sharing it. I also want people to understand that when I make these videos, I want to give it like 50-50. 50% being all happy and because my life, I'm not depressed. I'm actually very often in a very good mood. That doesn't remove that I have constant pain. It doesn't remove that I have 50% of the day have big anxiety spikes where I can't breathe. It doesn't remove that, and I wanted to very clearly show that when I make the videos. I don't want to depress you and show too much of the negativity, but I don't want you to think neither that like I'm just this happy-go-lucky person that just run around the world and everything is wonderful but I'm still on sick leave. I want to show the truth, the reality of having chronic illnesses. I want to show that, and I don't know, it's a big balance, seeing if things will be good or not. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna get some breakfast in me and then I'll do something else. Right now I have a splitting migraine. I think this is the same migraine that I had yesterday. I think it just hasn't really subsided yet. A migraine can last as long as 72 hours. So I think that is still what is kind of hitting me, and I think it is because of the emotional release. I talked about it yesterday. This has been something that I always had an issue with, that I get migraines on the weekends, and that is because when I was younger, going to school, had a certain stress amount because I was a strange person. I didn't fit in, and I had anxieties. This was nothing that I understood when I was a child, but I did have anxiety and stuff due to being different, due to I talk differently. I was different than most people, and I was teased for that, and I was my friends were very good at telling me how not to act, that I should behave in this way instead, and I should behave in this way instead. That has helped me socially when I have grown up, because I know what is socially acceptable, not because of the people telling me that, but it was kind of harsh, which meant that being social Monday to Friday, it was hard for me. So on Saturday and Sunday I usually spent home, and we were quite isolated where I lived, so I didn't have friends over, which meant that I had 2 days of just relaxation. So of course I got my migraines then. I started having migraines when I was 14-15. They were mostly hormonal, so I usually got them on the weekends when I had my period. But yeah, so I always had that, and I think that is what is going on right now. So yeah, I'm gonna have some more water to drink, I'm gonna have some breakfast, and I think I'm gonna sit and game for a time. I do have like a thing I want to look into today, and we'll see if the energy and head will be there, but I'm hoping that it will, so that I can do a little bit of that. And also I got some I have my Crafty Bit Dye Works, where I sell needles, fabric and needle minders, and I realized just a week or so ago that I had forgotten to relist some things. The listings got expired, and there were actually quite a lot in those listings that got expired, so I now have relisted them. So if it's something you want to, like Halloween needle minders maybe, they are now listed again. There is a whole bunch of cross stitch fabric also still available. So yeah, but yeah, I'm going to have some breakfast. Good morning guys, I hope you have an awesome day. Did realize now when I'm editing the video, because I did that, I'm going to talk about it in 2 seconds, that I didn't show you my pants. So okay, these are the leggings I was talking about. These are the false pockets, so they have like these metal details. Right now, zippers, that's the word, yes. So they have the zippers, and like I've had them just lying on the sofa, it's already kitty hair on them. However, they have these like zipper details on the front, which makes me feel a little bit cool. And then they have these like angular things on the legs, and they're like this soft, I think they're like a cotton elastic mix, but they're super soft and super cozy. So that is the 2 pants, both in the size of large, that I love wearing. And then this is the pair of pants I have for like training. That was the back side that I bought for training. So they're like this soft fabric, and then they're like cotton in the between, and then they're pink at the bottom. I actually kind of like them. I think they would fit someone that has a little bit of a smaller leg much better, but I have big thighs and I have to own that up. So that is those. And then I also got this shirt. I actually liked, they had a like wine red one that was so much better, like a dark almost burgundy, I can't speak. That was much better. However, it wasn't in my size, so I picked up this instead, which is like a medium sport in a very, very potent pink. I think it's going to fit me better when I got a little bit more muscular arms. Right now my arms are very big and swollen, so but it still fits me, and that was the whole thing. I can still move in it pretty good, but it's not super soft, so still has a little bit of tightness in the arms, but I kind of like it. It's also one of those like breathable things, and I'm going to wear a black tank top underneath anyhow, so that's those. And for the last part, because I'm not going to show you my training bra, is these very, very fussy socks. I buy about 2 to 3 pairs a year from Cubus. This brand, even like their own brand of cozy socks. They're super soft and cuddly. I have like 3 dark red ones and 2 gray ones. So I thought pick up a pair of black ones. I usually have them in my shoes for fall and winter. So yeah, that's that. So we're moving in here because it's a little less noisy from the dryer. Christopher turned on the washing machine this morning, so I just transferred all of the wash into the dryer. It's a lot of sounds, but we need to get that done too. It's not the best lighting in here, but just I have a top light here, and the light that comes in from that window is also very sharp right now because it's grey and boring outside. Yeah, light, we don't care. So I did have a big change in my schedule. After talking to you, I kind of realized I had done some vlogging yesterday, and maybe I should try to edit it. And when I do these kind of sit down vlogs, when I just sit in the same place and talk to you, the editing isn't that hard because I don't do that much ums and ahs. I kind of have an idea of what I want to say, so I kind of just say it right out. Can be a little bit hard if I want to remove stuff when I'm saying too much. I do try to share as much as possible in my life, but there are things in my life that I don't share on the internet. That's just logic sense, and sometimes when I talk to the camera I say those things and then I have to edit them out, and that can be very, very strange sounding because I will be kind of cut out in the middle. Just how it works. It's just how it works. I talk too much. That's what it is. So because it's super easy to edit, I basically just listen through the video at one time to see that it isn't something that I don't want to share. If it is something that I don't want to share, I put a marker. So I use Final Cut Pro. So when I'm listening through it and I hear something I don't really want to hear, I just press M and I get a little purple marker on top of that, and that would actually transfer down to the timeline afterwards. This is in the kind of just the library part. So I go through it in the library part, and because I do Final Cut Pro, I can use I for where it starts and O for where it stops. So I can basically do that cut. If you do it in iMovie, you have to do it with your mouse, but in Final Cut Pro you can do it with your keyboard. Kind of why I actually have Final Cut Pro. One of the reasons. There are a couple of reasons, but Final Cut Pro makes that much easier. And then I just listen through it, have the start and the stop, maybe put in a marker or two if it's something I want to remove, or if it's something I want to repeat. If you have noticed, I try to put this little thingy in the start that kind of teases you a little bit about the content of the video. Just like a sentence or half a sentence out of it. Because I've heard I've been watching a lot of videos and I kind of like that kind of intro, so I want to add that every time. So I have that for markers, then I put everything into when I've done everything, for every cut I do, I favorite mark it, which means I then can just go and filter it on just all favorites, mark everything, and then just add everything at once into my timeline, and that's basically the video almost done. The only thing I did today was different, was to put in middle intro, and I'm super sorry about this noise. There's some kind of work going on. Again, they've been doing it like every weekday almost. Something has been going on here, so you have to deal because I have to deal. But yeah, I just added like an intro telling that it is my video, like the real life of me. I have some ideas on how I want it to look like in the future, but I just didn't have the energy to do it today, and that might be for foreseeable future be the thing. I'm also planning on probably doing Vlogmas, and I want to do an intro for that. And then I also did a teeny tiny outro today because I forgot to say goodnight. So I thought I'd just add that as the end of it, and it might be a part of my kind of slide at the end when I get to it. I have a lot of ideas. I always have a lot of ideas. Sadly, health is stopping me from realizing all of them, but I'm hoping that I'm gonna get better. I'm working on getting better, so I'm hoping that I'm getting better and that I can start realizing some ideas and not just having them. But yeah, that ended up being a very long clip. But yeah, so I have two things left to do when it comes to the video. Like, the video editing took less than half an hour, and most of the time I actually was eating breakfast because I only need to kind of listen, watching the clip through. When I do that, I don't have to be super concentrated, more than that I actually listen to what I'm saying so that things don't slip through. So I had my breakfast at the same time. It was like watching any other YouTube, and then I think it took me 2-3 minutes to fix the intro and the outro, mostly because I've used Final Cut so long and I'm using the built-in transitions and stuff, so I don't have to think about that. So that is done. Now I'm going to go through the video and find a frame that fits to be the kind of thumbnail, and then I'm gonna go into Photoshop and do the thumbnail. And the way I'm doing my thumbnail is, one, I use the Q. I use Photoshop. I take the photo into Photoshop, I duplicate the photo on top of each other, so I have the same photo in 2 layers. At the top layer I use the Q. The Q actually makes it that you can actually draw the outline for cutouts. So you could use like the lasso tool and go around if you wanted to, and you can use, there's a lot of different tools to do the masking out things, but I love the Q because you use the Q and you use a hard brush, and then you just draw on top of the face and the shoulders, because that is what I want to mask out. And when I've done that, I press the Q again, and the background automatically, so everything I didn't draw on is automatically marked. So then I just press, I think it is Command backspace to remove the background, or if it's just backspace to remove the background. Then I go in on the bottom layer, which has everything, and I make it black. I put a black and white layer on top of it. So there's a layer mask called black and white, so I add that, so it's just black and white. And then I add another layer mask, or I add a layer that I cut to, I add a layer on top or between those the images layers that I have in a specific color, and then I just lower the opacity on that. And because I have made the background black and white, it looks pretty good with that color on. And the last thing I do is I go to the top layer where I just have the head and the shoulders, and I go into blending mode and I add a white outline, and that's it. So it's pretty simple to do, and it's actually pretty quickly to do. So that is one thing I really love about using stuff. You learn new stuff all the time. I love going through like courses. Taking courses is one of my favorite things. I do that quite often on different platforms, different places. Going to YouTube, finding YouTube tutorials and stuff. But it's not until you actually practice it that they actually stick. I have some tutorials that I have to go and look every time I do things, because I do them so seldom. I do them like once or twice and that's it. While other ones I do a lot, and those things that I do a lot, I don't need to watch the tutorials anymore because they have stuck. And learning how to do Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator is so good, especially if you're like me and love designing stuff and creating and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff in that. But yeah, the clips is very long. I just made a cup of coffee and I don't want it to get cold, so I'm gonna drink my coffee and fix the thumbnail, upload the video, and we should be set to go for today. So I did end up adding a little special thingies to the thumbnail. I felt, because the background that I had behind me was very white, and if I've been out and about, I can take like small clips from different places and kind of add it to that and kind of deal with it. But today I didn't have that, so I wanted to have a little bit more, so I ended up actually taking almost the title that I have on the video, and I put it like in big text behind me, so you can't really read it, but it kind of pushes the eye. When it comes to my vlogging, here's the thing. I have different ways of thinking with different kind of videos. When I do my Crafty Bit channel, I do think like production. I really think about the quality, I think about the audio, the lighting. I really think about all the markers and like all of the things, because I want it to be a tutorial that not only teaches you something but does that in a good, beautiful way, so that people will feel like not only did I learn something, but I really like the aesthetic of this, so I really want to share it with other people. And that whole production behind that with thumbnails and everything. When it comes to my vlogging, it isn't, I really don't matter that much, because I'm not trying to build a following when it comes to vlogging. Every one of you who is here is so dear to me, and even if, of course, I'm human, having more people watching me would be fun, but it doesn't really matter. It's very much me just telling you about my day and using vlogging to figure things out, figure myself out. And when I'm able to, I take you along. When I'm not able to, you get to see me like this. So usually I don't put that much time and effort into the thumbnails, and I haven't for many years. However, I've been feeling that I want to up my game just a teensy tiny. And a simple thing like making the giving it a color over the background, a color overlay, and just having my face pop up is making that like a little bit more on that side. So yeah, it's kind of fun to do. It makes me happy, and that's the whole thing. Like, I don't do this when I don't have the energy. I really don't. But I try to talk to you as much as possible because it makes me feel less lonely. And now they start drilling again, so I'm gonna have my coffee and maybe play some video games. Well guys, I am about to head to bed. It's like 9 o'clock. I'm super exhausted, like thought processes does not exist. I played some video games. I had dinner with Christopher. We had a very early dinner. I then sat down to check a couple of things, discovered that a service that I've been using that had been a free service is now a paid service, and I'm not that interested in using it, so I won't be paying for it. I never added any credit card or anything, so it's not like any money has ever been pulled. It's just that I can't use the service anymore, so I'm gonna remove that completely. But while I was doing that, I did a little bit of research, got like a 5-minute thing, got a lot of ideas and a lot of inspiration, and like 5 minutes into it I'm like, nope, this isn't working because I'm so exhausted and I'm so tired and I won't be able to do anything of this right now. But I like the idea, so I'm gonna go and kind of chew on the idea a little bit so that I kind of see if we can do something about it. Anyhow, after those kind of 5 minutes, I went and sat down on the sofa with my cross stitching and watched some TV series. And I don't know where I found it. It might be from a Facebook post or from a YouTube I've been watching, but someone was talking about how they were watching the Medium series. This is an old series, and I started watching. I've watched it before, don't remember anything from it, but that's actually okay. I like the idea of it. It's with Patricia Arquette, and she is playing a character who can see dead people, basically, and she is helping a district attorney with some cases and stuff. I've only seen a couple of episodes so far I know I've seen it before, but yeah, I usually have things going on in the background, so it's not always I remember them. Anyhow, I really liked it, and I did a lot of cross stitching. I got like over 700 done, and I thought I'd show you. Hopefully I will remember, but I will show you when I finish this page row, so then I have 2 page rows. I hope I remember. My memory is pretty crap at the moment. I don't take it out of my frame unless I need to move it, or yeah, I need to move it when I finish the row anyhow. So yeah, that's the thing. So hopefully I can remember that. I can show you how it's going, but it's going great. It's going so awesome. But the battery has been kind of telling me that it needs to be switched out, and I have to go to bed, feed the kitties and go to bed. So I'm gonna say good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite.